Hi again, it's me, Jessie, and I'm here to tell you all about the books that I read in February of 2020. The first two books I read in February were plays. The first book I read was How to Make Friends and Then Kill Them by Halley Feieffer. I've read Halley Feieffer's work before. I read favorite play, just because I love to say the name. A funny thing happened on the way to the gynecological oncology unit at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City. This story I would definitely love to see expanded into a novel, just because I want to go more in depth with the three young women and their lives and their relationships with each other. It's about three young girls, and it follows them from childhood when they're like 10, and then it goes to when they're like 17-ish, and it goes to when they're like 20-somethings. So there's three people. Ada and Sam are sisters, and then Dory is this girl they meet, their friend who they go to school with. So it starts with Ada and Sam, and they have this very weird relationship. Ada wants to be a star. She wants to be a model and an actress and a dancer, and she kind of wants Sam to like worship at her. But then when Sam does that, Ada's like, why are you so obsessed with me? But then when Sam is just like, Ada, leave me alone, Ada's like, no, I love you. Don't you love me? So it's this weird like push and pull kind of thing. And then in one scene, Ada's at school, and she meets this girl Dory, and Dory's just like, yeah, I have all these medical problems, blah 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 blah. And Ada's like, do you wanna be friends? So they're friends, which makes Sam really jealous, because Sam is not friends with Dory, but Ada is. And Sam's just like, no, I want Ada all to myself. I don't want to say any more. That's like some spice. But if you're into plays, I would definitely recommend this one. This is the cover. I would definitely recommend this one. It draws you in. Sometimes it's hard to get into it because they're not likable characters at all, so you don't want to read what they have to say. Their relationships with each other are just so... not even their relationships. It's like the things that she doesn't say make you want to know, so that's why you keep reading. But it was just really hard. It wasn't hard. It was just like, I want to know what's happening, and I want to understand what they're talking about when they're talking about things that happened in the past that they haven't said yet. I really want to know. But I don't want to spend any time with any of them. Ada's an insecure bitch. Sam is an insecure bully. And Dory's like really nice, and she's open about her insecurities. So I guess Dory is the most likable of them, but she's also really annoying because she just wants people to like her, and you can tell. So she'll do anything to be in Sam and Ada's good graces, but usually if she's in good with one of them, she's not in good with the other one. This play, I like it. I would love to see a production of it. I don't think it's a play that I would want to be in because I kind of hate all of the characters. But I would love to see it. It's a really interesting story. The next play I read in February was Pipeline by Dominique Morisseau. I really love this play. I want to just read you the synopsis because whatever I say about this play will not do it justice. I read this play because I live in New York City, and they are putting on a production of this play. Right now it's on hold because of the whole coronavirus thing, but they're putting on this play at Gallery Players Theater in Brooklyn, and I auditioned for it. I did not get it, sadly. I wanted to play Jasmine, but that's okay. But a friend of mine who I was actually just in a play that she stage managed is stage managing this, and I'm so proud of her. But once the world is back up and running, I'm really excited to go see it because I'm sure it's gonna be great. So the story of Pipeline is about this boy who is basically in limbo with his school. He doesn't know if he's gonna get kicked out or not because of an undisclosed at first altercation he had with a teacher. You hear his mom talking about it, and you hear his girlfriend talking about it. That's what the play is mainly surrounding. It's like how they're gonna handle whatever happens to the boy. His name's Omari. Omari just wants to run away. He doesn't want to go back home. He doesn't want to stay at school. He doesn't want to tell anybody where he's going. It's kind of a commentary on public education, and public education in New York City is a lot of kids who are not rich, who do not come from rich families, who come from poor families or families who are like getting by, And they go to schools that are just getting by. Schools don't get a lot of funding, and all the time funding is being cut, and it's just getting worse, and schools need more funding. That's what I'm saying. It's very important to me. I went to public school and I was lucky. I mean, I didn't go to the best public schools, but I went to public schools, I got an education, I went to college, I'm getting a degree. So I was one of the lucky ones, but I still know that we were underserved, that our whole school was underserved because they didn't have the means to give us enough of an education, the education that we deserve. So when I was in high school, we kind of just got a bare bones education. I'm gonna read what it says on the back because I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It says, with profound compassion and lyricism, Morisseau brings us a powerful play that delves into the urgent issue of the school-to-prison pipeline that ensnares people of color. Issues of class, race, parenting, and education in America are brought to the front lines as we are left to question the systematic structures that ultimately trap underserved communities. That's basically what I wanted to say. It's a fast read. I would definitely recommend reading it. Read it twice, read it 3 times, give it to everyone you know, make everyone read it. And if you're in New York, whenever we're allowed to gather again, definitely head over to Gallery Players Theater and see it when it comes out. It's gonna be great. The next book I read I listened to it on audiobook. I listened to Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I read this book last year and I absolutely fell in love with it. So if you don't know, it's about Alex Claremont Diaz, who is the first son of the United States, and Prince Henry. They're like arch nemesis. They hate each other for no reason. Like, it's not explained. Like, they hate each other for no reason. They don't have a real reason to hate each other. In the beginning of the book, they're at a wedding and they accidentally knock over a like $1 billion cake. I think it's like $75,000, and are forced to become friends in the public eye to make up for it, so they don't cause a whole scandal. And then they end up actually becoming friends, and they end up falling in love. In case you didn't know, in case that wasn't obvious from where it says on the back of the book, what happens if America's first son falls in love with the Prince of Wales? Oh, I was right, it is the Prince of Wales. In case you didn't know, in case it wasn't obvious, they fall in love, and it's great. It's really sweet. It makes me emotional. At first, I was like really iffy on the audiobook because I thought that the narrator didn't feel right for their voices, because the narrator's voice was kind of dry. No offense to the narrator, he turned out to be lovely. I ended up really liking it, but at first his voice just didn't feel right. It felt very stiff, and like, since I already knew the story, I was just like, this doesn't feel like it's gonna be right going into the rest of it. But then it's a really funny book. I think this is a really funny book, and hearing his voice just say these weird things and these inappropriate sexual things in all of their text conversations, HRH Prince Dickhead Poop Emoji, hearing him read that aloud every time was really funny. So it's that like juxtaposition of the stilted voice with the comedic text worked really well. I liked it a lot. So if you haven't read the book already, read it or listen to the audiobook. Whichever one makes you happier, I would highly recommend. It's great. I can't wait for Haley McQuiston's next book. Whoops. I can't wait for Casey McQuiston's next book. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. After that, I read Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera, which is a book that I was so excited for because I absolutely love Adam Silvera. I am an Adam Silvera loyalist. I will read anything he writes. And admittedly, this book took me a long time to read because it's a fantasy and I just don't read a lot of fantasy. I know, I'm sorry. Everyone loves it and it's so good. I just can't get into it. This book is about these 2 brothers who live in New York City, and one of them, Brighton, wants to be a hero and he wants to save the world. He wants to have superpowers and he's obsessed with these people. They're called spellwalkers who have powers and they kind of are saving the world. So the 2 brothers are Brighton and Emile. They're twins, and on their 18th birthday, Emile finds out that he has the power of Phoenix Fire, which is a scepter power, I think. Spectre, which is a spectre power. And specters are people who get their powers by taking them from the blood of the creature that has the power. So it's like, you can take it from a phoenix and you can get fire powers. You can take it from a hydra and you can get regenerative powers. Or a new one that's revealed in the book that a lot of people don't, that's like not common at all, is you can take the blood of a ghost and you can phase through objects. So Emil, everyone's just like, when did you do this? You love phoenixes. Why would you hurt one to get these powers? And he's like, I didn't! And it goes into his personal history and how he got the powers and a little bit of their family history. So these powers kind of create a rift between the brothers. As much as they don't want to admit it, it does, because Brighton basically thinks these powers are wasted on Emil because Emil's not a good fighter. Emil doesn't want to fight and he doesn't want to be the hero who saves the world, but Brighton does. But since Brighton doesn't have superpowers, he's trying to save the world in the best way he can, which is online and through media. He's a YouTube documentarian. The Spellwalkers, even though they're trying to save the world, have a really bad rep with the public and the government is trying to make the Spellwalkers look even worse. Brighton is doing the best he can to try to make them look good in the public eye, but it doesn't always work. It's all in, just read the book jacket or read the Goodreads synopsis. I'm terrible at summarizing things, but I can tell you this book is definitely an Adam Silvera book. You can feel his voice coming off the page when you read it. Even though it took me forever to read it, it's really good. I really like it. I cannot wait for the sequel, because when you get to the end of the book, it's just like, hey, what the fuck? Because it's totally a what the fuck ending. And the last book that I read in February was Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. Oh my god, I love Heartstopper so much. It's so good. It's so sweet and pure and wholesome. And it just makes me really happy. It's about these two boys, Nick and Charlie, who go to school together. Nick is in year 11 and Charlie is in year 10. And Nick is already on the rugby team and Charlie joins the rugby team, and that's sort of where they become friends. And they start to develop feelings for each other. In volume 3, Nick and Charlie are well into their relationship. They're starting to tell their friends and their family about each other, but they're secure. They love you. I don't think they said I love you yet, but they love each other. We know. And in this book, they go on a school trip together with some of their classmates to Paris, and they're having a great time. But as they're in Paris, Nick starts to notice that Charlie's getting kind of sick and he doesn't eat a lot, and it's very concerning for him. So, trigger warning for a potential eating disorder in this book. And in the next one, Heartstopper has 3 volumes out right now, and the graphic novel originally, like the individual comics, I believe are still being released on Tapas. It's an app. I don't like to read on like my phone or anything, so I just wait for the books to come out every year. But if you have them and you haven't read them yet, or if you're thinking about picking them up, I would definitely recommend, because they're such fast reads and they just are like nice little pick-me-ups. They'll definitely get you out of a reading slump that just make your heart happy. Well, they make my heart happy, and I would assume they make other people's hearts happy because it's just so sweet. I like this book a lot. It's one of my favorite graphic novel series. Oh, I should do a video on that. I'm gonna work on that. I would definitely say, if you've been thinking about Heartstopper but haven't read it yet for whatever reason, definitely get on it, because you'll love it. Okay, that's all of the books I read in February. Those are all the things I have to say about the books I read in February. So I'm gonna go now, and I will talk to you again soon.